I'm Dean, an antisocial horror fanboy and computer geek. My day is pretty simple. I wake up, go to work and fix computers, come home, watch a few classic horrors, then medicate my insomnia with a few hours of web service. Anyone who knew me would probably call me boring, and they wouldn't be far from the truth. Though I see my routine as more of a personal meditation. So, for horror, gore, and violence, it allows me to vent from the everyday crap. And I think you might agree. We can watch the maniac chainsawing his way through a beautiful woman, or control a character to shoot another man's head off without remorse. After all, I think that's what fiction's for. I hear my alarm go off. It's the dreaded hour. I throw on one of my signature Gorefest shirts, skinny jeans, Converse, and push my thick framed glasses up my nose. As I get to work, the day drags on. I move from one client to the next until my shift nears to an end. I am called into a job for a regular client. They ask for me specifically, which is something that happens as they do get accustomed to you. When I get to the place, I'm led to a familiar, empty office, hidden away on the bottom floor. I set out my laptop and begin my work. The computer, the only computer in this office, it's riddled with viruses and everything in between, as they usually are. I heard the door creak open, and a tall, skinny man walks into the room. His eyes are dark and deep. His cheekbones are gaunt. This guy could easily pass for a decent character in one of my films.
I can't help it. All those tempting emails and links to those pretty girls. You can't help yourself. They make it so easy, don't you think?
The hell is this weirdo on about? I decide to ignore him, and he circles throughout the room, going on and on, until he breaks it to me.
I've been meaning to give you this. I'm not into the whole horror thing. I figured I always see you with those scary t-shirts. I thought it'd be something you'd appreciate.
What is it, I asked?
Some kind of invitation, I suppose. I came across it while using this new thing called Tor. It's the in thing, and there's something for everyone there. Even misfits like you and I.
He smiles, a twisted grin, pointing at the gory print on my top. Like us. I can't believe he actually compared me to him. He then proceeds to hand me a crudely printed leaflet. On it, it reads, "Not for the faint of heart. We desire you, or a keen friend, to taste true terror." So, I guess today wasn't a total loss. I feel a difficult twitch as I return him with half a smile. Hey, thanks. The odd man shuffles towards the door, looking back at me.
Well, I thought better you than I.
He chuckles to himself as he leaves the room. I turn back to continue with my work. It looks like I have a lot to get through. That damn click-happy sod. I guess that's the difference between myself and them. Their inability to control their curiosity. A couple of strenuous hours later, and the walk home is a long one. It's getting late. There are a few streetlights along the way. The entire walk, I can't help feeling an immense pressure, as though someone is watching me. I pick up the pace in an attempt to turn away my paranoia. I can't shake the feeling that there's something there, like a shadow, dodging each of the streetlights. Later that night, I find myself back in my comfort zone, with the sounds of a damsel screaming for help, and yet I find myself turning my attention to that invitation. I spend another moment relishing in the splendours of classic terror before I pry myself away, and I move myself over to the PC station, and it's when I load up my browser and enter the token URL, it responds with an error page. The website cannot be found. This couldn't be right, I thought to myself. It's then I'll take time to read the invitation's fine print. It explains that I have to use something called Tor. Then I recall that creepy dude from earlier mentioning how it was by using Tor that he came across this strange invite. It only took a moment until I found, downloaded, and activated the new software. Now I only needed to enter the URL. Once having done this, it brought me to a web page, not like the ones on the regular web. There were no flashy gimmicks, countless ads and click here's. It was just a plain black background. Then slowly, a new screen integrated into view. It appeared to be some kind of camera feed, which was static, showing only a row of houses at night. Besides the static feed, appeared a chat log, which already appeared active, and there were a number of users in midst of conversation. Looking at it, they were horror fanboys, referencing scenes and quotes from some of my favourite all-time movies. I'm gonna fit right in here, I thought to myself. And it was then I jumped at the chance to voice my love for horror, when the screen suddenly locks, and slowly a large text appears, reading, "The invitation is active. Welcome, the new man, to the real terror." The text then faded, unlocking the screen again, and the chat log exploded with responses. "New man, new meat." Then another said something which stood out to me.
"So, new man, you better share some scares with us. We need something new, fresh, and reeking with dread."
So I replied to them, "So, what sort of things you guys watching tonight?" I didn't have to wait long for a reply. "It all comes down to what you are willing to serve us, Newman." I then realised Newman was my chat name. I guess there's no time to waste being original. "What do you mean by that?" I replied. The chat log burst with anagram laughter and profanity. They indicate to the chat log. They indicate to the feed beside the chat log, and I realised It wasn't static. It was a POV screen.
This is your horror movie, Newman. Make us rich.
It's an interactive movie. As I realised this, I licked my lips in excitement. I know I can give these guys something to remember. After all, I live for this stuff. There's a text field below the feed. I figured it was a command trigger. I looked back to the feed, noticing a large knife being flashed in front of the camera. It shimmers under the moonlight and points at each of the houses in turn. I guessed it was asking me to choose. The chat log was silent. They were waiting for my move. So I typed, "Take the second house." The character slowly moves towards a house. It looks and feels just like a realistic video game. As it approaches, it stretches a long black featureless hand as it strokes across the house, then towards the windows. I type, "Try the windows." The character acts as I command, approaching the windows. One of the larger ones open, and the character, with its dark hands, enters the house. It is dark and silent. It appears no one is inside, or at least not awake. I look back to the chat log, and there is a single comment.
Don't get cocky, Newman. You've only just started.
I smile and speak aloud to myself. You're right. I guess I have. The character is static, waiting for my word. I waste no time and begin typing again. Find the stairs and make your way up. The character abides. Now, dig the edge of the blade and drag it up and along the wall as you ascend. Someone in the chat replies, "Nice, Newman. Very retro." The character reaches the landing and stops to look both ways. All the doors are closed, besides one right at the end. So I type the next command, relishing my progress. Make to the room at the end and slowly enter, walking inside. Now I am in the bedroom, and I can see a bed towards the far corner of the room from myself. The character continues on her own accord towards the bed. So I instruct, "Now, continue to the head of the bed, while caressing over the victim with the blade." The character pauses, looking down at the sleeping body, blissfully unaware of their impending demise. I instruct further, "Now, lift your blade up high." The blade glistens as it hits a beam of moonlight. I look over to the chat log as it bursts into activity.
Do it. Do it now. You can't go back. Do it.
Hey guys, sorry to leave you all hanging there. Don't worry, there'll be part 2 coming along very soon. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe, like, share, and remember, the only thing scarier than a nightmare is waking up.